Well, did anyone else ever have a boring uncle?
I sure have a
Don't
boring
really know
uncle.
my uncles.
This girl's like to torture people.
Okay, so we just saw The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and...
Where are the 5 men in the car? We're 5 guys.
The Five
yeah,
Guys.
5 guys, yeah.
The Five Guys review.
No worries,
now.
our burgers
We
and
changed the name.
fries.
Yeah.
We barely
Damn
have
it, now I'm
fun.
hungry.
Yeah.
I know, I'm just joking.
Yes.
But okay, so let's.
We all are joking.
So, you didn't like it so much?
Yeah, I didn't. Quite honestly, this was probably the most boring movie since Black Hat.
Oh, really?
It
You
was
thought?
actually kind of
Really?
good,
Yeah.
but you had to have an appreciation. They tried to base it off the old show. Like,
Alright,
they
well...
did it in olden style.
Yeah,
Okay.
Which
I
I
don't-
like. I have an appreciation for... Because I've seen, like, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Mission Impossible, the old shows. So if you've seen the old show, this was a cool thing to see in theaters. Like, they actually tried to
Yeah.
make it like the old one.
I haven't seen Man
All right,
from
well,
U.N.C.L.E., but
then-
I'm
I guess-
actually...
Kind of over
but I want
modernize things
to.
when you bring them back. It really kills them. It's like what
Yeah.
they did to Knight Rider.
I don't know if I agree with that. Yeah, it had the good style to it, but I don't know. I felt the movie just was kind of uneven for me. It was kind of like funny and then sad. I didn't like it either so much. I was bored. Like you, I was bored. I mean, I don't mind. Like I said, I love the '60s. I just felt that. I know you didn't like Kingsman as well, but I loved Kingsman. I thought that was a better tribute to like old spy films than this was.
I liked it.
I liked it.
That's
I
nice
liked
for
it.
you guys. I just
Alright.
I just didn't. So
So the
much.
two in front
guess
hate
that-
it and we like it.
No, I wouldn't... No, they didn't say they hated it. They just... were
Well, I guess
bored.
that kind of explains why it's somewhere around a
That's
60.
the way
It's
I
67.
like
67,
it.
yeah.
And basically, like what I felt about, I
Yeah.
don't usually agree completely with the critics. I'm usually either I sometimes agree or sometimes I don't. But this one, I completely agree. I felt they got the style, like the '60s style stuff was cool, but then the story and everything else was kind of uneven. Just wasn't that interesting. I just didn't like it so much. But
And you thought Straight Outta Compton dragged? This felt longer than Straight Outta Compton. It just
thought
kept
it was long.
It just
Much
kept
better
going,
than
and
Straight Outta Compton with the flow.
Yeah.
I didn't feel
There
that
wasn't
way
a
at
si-
all.
Oh.
I didn't feel that
I don't
way
know.
at all.
I mean,
I guess you have to have
I
an
mean,
appreciation for how Old World used to work.
Yeah, I understand. Like I said, I understand that. I still just didn't enjoy it. I thought I understood. Like I said, I understand that, and I've
gotta
enjoyed
think
stuff like that.
In like the olden times, they didn't produce the show on basis of explosions and gunfights.
Yeah, I
This
understand.
was literally about as exciting as that stuff got, but there was an appreciation for it because they didn't have to go overboard to make it entertaining.
That's not
It
my
was a
thing.
little slower, yes, but that's how the
I didn't
how
feel it
the
was-
shows and stuff were made.
I like the
back then.
characters.
I do too.
I thought they were all right. I thought they were kind of cliched.
I liked Ela.
yeah, I didn't care about them.
I liked
Ilya.
Ilya.
Yes,
He's like-
Ilya was. good.
He's more professional than Solo, but he has a touch of class.
Yeah, and then of course the way they pinged him off Solo was kind of funny too. It's like
Yeah.
they were always butting. They were always kind of having a mine's bigger contest, but they really
Yes.
didn't actually.
That's probably.
They didn't have one person leading the other. They both had their strengths and weaknesses.
Solo.
Even though they kept trying to prove their country had the better things, with spy work, it was not always said that one was better than the other.
Solo
You know,
definitely had
the
a more
old-
diverse set of skills. While
His was old world,
but he was
sure.
very crass. I felt he was very crass. You know?
Yeah, but he also had the old world skills.
Yeah.
Ilya, his combat skills were good, but he relied too much on new end technology, which didn't always work out for him. And then again, when you get like Solo, you just pick lock the door in like a few seconds.
But
Click.
that's not necessarily old world. That's from his time as a thief.
Well, no, it was just like, Ilya tries to stick this key finder
Auto
thing in
lock.
there, and it's just like, let me do it. Click.
What I liked is that
Proof point.
Ilya, you see him struggle not to give in to what, like Solo said about psychotic episodes. And you can see that he does struggle not to get
And
in
they
it.
tried to give you an emphasis on his feeling, which was
Yeah.
good too. Like, you could literally feel when he was about to just... Also, they didn't try to show you when he just had those episodes what he would do to people who got in his way during those episodes.
You just...
Like, you know, the bathroom was left up to your imagination. You know, he was... They're in the hospital. He had soft bones. He had the best response to that. He had soft bones.
I will say that I think did the romance feel a little rushed?
I felt it was. Yeah, I felt that
It
too.
was a little bit, but it was kind of like they were trying to put some closeness on them ahead of time because of the act. It was basically they had to get into character because they were spies, and then it fell less being into character and more honest. Like, you saw the transition from where it started as they were forced into it to where they felt actually close. So it wasn't exactly rushed. It was the basis of having to do it for character and then actually
The two lead actors have actually really good chemistry.
So Solo and the other guy,
Ilya.
which
It's a Russian name.
who are they? I don't even remember anyone's names.
Solo was the American
Solo, but that's
agent,
Solo.
Ilya was the Russian one, and Abby, of course, was the East German... Gabby, excuse me. Gabby was the East German one who was working with the English.
I don't know.
And I'm sorry if this spoils things for people. All you have to do is put a pot over your head and clang it a bunch of times.
So did
I get it.
so did the TV show have kind of the same editing style as this movie?
What do you mean?
Well, like a lot of it, a lot of the scenes are cut really quickly, kind of like Taken 3. And then there's like a scene where it repeatedly shows like maybe 4 split screens at once, and one of them...
The split screening effect is
Can you let him
not
finish, actually,
something
please,
you
Nick?
would...
Can you please let him finish, please? He was kind of in the middle.
And at one time during that scene, I think they're on inflatable rafts.
Yes.
It shows you like all at once. It shows you just like the inflatable rafts from 4 different perspectives. Like,
Okay, you can finish.
Whatever.
Now. Sorry.
Okay, that was them trying to take it in a modern direction, which I didn't agree with. They didn't normally have that. That was something you actually got more from the Mission Impossible show, when they split up the scenes, because that was how they were prepping for things and going through them. You know how they showed you a preview, all the stuff they did, and then actually went through with it? It was more common, you saw stuff like that at a Mission Impossible than you did Man from U.N.C.L.E. But I didn't really see much of Man from U.N.C.L.E., so I wouldn't have as much basis to put that on. But I still don't think that was normally in the show. The progression, though, they did probably have.
Cameron, you got anything to
I
add?
thought the split screening was pretty confusing too. So
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I thought there's some shaky cam and some action scenes.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah,
I didn't notice.
I mean, sometimes shaky cam is
Wasn't
fine
as
if
bad as
you
Man of
can
Steel.
still tell what's going on, but
Shaky
actually
camera.
there is
As long
one
as you're
shot
not
in this
getting the
movie
28
where
days handy.
where Henry Cavill is actually looking up and his head shaking. It looked so much like Man of Steel.
where's it
Yeah.
near the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was thinking.
But I will bring up, there actually were some scenes I really liked. There were some scenes I really liked. Like the beginning action scene, the part where they were like in the car and he was chasing after him. That was cool. I liked the scene where the Nazi guy was like talking about his story and like the light was fun. I thought that was really cool as well. And then I liked the ending, how they got the bad guy at the end. I thought that was clever. But for the most part, I just felt the movie wasn't very clever. It was just kind of the same. Oh, and I also did like the funny scene where he was like where the one guy where the Russian guy was in the boat and then Solo was just taking a break, eating having a lunch. That was funny. But
There are some funny moments in it, and although the music that he turns on during that scene when he's in the truck, it is funny how that's kind of all you hear while he's sitting in there, and then like the speedboat blows up.
Yeah.
Although when he drives the truck, off the ledge and drops it onto the enemy boat, and the music is still playing. There, I kind of felt like the joke overstayed its welcome when the music kept playing there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did like the scene with the electric chair.
Yeah, that
I'm
was good.
sorry,
That
I
was
have
funny.
to correct
Well, the
you on the
funny
radio part. It's not overstayed. He never turned off the radio, and the radio itself wouldn't short out until the truck eventually dropped into the water. It was still playing while he was on top of the boat,
Speaking of
up
which-
until the actual electronic components of the truck dropped into the water. Then the radio shorted out, which is accurate to what would actually happen. Other than how fast that truck actually started clunking, that would have gone a lot faster.
I don't know, also, but for the most part, I felt for me anyways, the humor just kind of fell flat for the most part. I mean, there were some good jokes, but I don't know, for the most part, I just felt this movie was just not that, I mean, not bad, but not great. I wasn't really, nothing really wowed me. I was, like you, I was bored halfway through. I was just kind of like, can this movie end already? And
Yeah.
But then it kind of ended. I'm like, oh, that was faster than I thought.
I didn't not feel that way.
No.
I think the humor felt rushed in the beginning, and then it kind of died out near the end. It felt like it was more of an action comedy in the beginning, and then it's just an action movie at the end.
Also, I thought.
Test ground. They might go further.
Also,
with it.
I also thought they weren't very spies. They were kind of dumb too. Like they did a lot of stuff. And just especially at the beginning, like you said at the beginning, they're just kind of like. Also, because nothing was really happening at the beginning too. They were kind of just. I'm not talking about like the race, the part where they're at the racetrack. I'm talking about before that, where they're just kind of hanging out in their hotel room. I felt like they could have cut that part out. Just most of that part.
I have one.
Do you think the racetrack scene? Sorry, you go ahead.
I have one thing to add on how you based them on being the characters being dumb. You've got to realize these were all people that were kind of brought in from other backgrounds. They weren't trained from square one. Solo had a background as a professional criminal. Ilya had a pretty rough-ass childhood and had to deal with a lot of crap. And for Gabby, yeah, I don't know about Gabby. She didn't seem as stupid, but she wasn't really trained to be much of an agent other than just get in, get out, do this stuff, just informative crap. Solo and Ilya were the actual agents, but it was their backgrounding that made them seem kind of stupid because they were not really professionals from the get-go at this kind of work.
One of the aspects I really liked is how all the gadgets they used were like realistic gadgets. Like a lot of other spy movies, when they use guns or gadgets or whatever they use to, win the movie, they have a lot of stuff that might not actually have existed during those times. But I feel like everything they used, like you said, there weren't as many explosions and big bangs, but it felt like everything they had was realistic and true to the 60s.
And that wasn't really my problem. I don't mind. I don't really about there wasn't no explosions or anything. I'm not always looking for. I'm not looking for that in action movies. I'm looking for at least a fun time. I'm just saying I didn't have a good time. Really, I just was kind of like, for the most part.
When you're French fry, you're not gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've never seen the original show, so I guess maybe it was supposed to be in line with the same show. I guess I'm not sure. I'll probably check out the show and see what I think for myself. But I don't. From not seeing the show, I just thought the movie was just for me anyways, but
yeah, same here. And I guess it's safe to say that if you like the show, you'll probably like this movie. But
maybe, like I said, it has a 67 though, so I don't know, maybe, because I think some people, because if I'm pretty sure some of those critics have probably seen the show, and so I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
Faces of age too. If you're older, you might appreciate the movie a little more.
Maybe, I'm not sure, but then again, I don't know anyone who's older, so...
Well, I mean, the show came out, probably, when my dad was around my age? Or younger, even? So...
let's grade this sucker.
really, hey Cameron, do you have any more thoughts? Because I think you've...
I don't have any more thoughts.
I thought it seemed weird how in the beginning they both seemed really professional, and then when they got back to the hotel and when they were on the steps and stuff, he seemed a little lackluster, so it seemed like their professional grades seemed to drop off.
It was because they were gnashing heads. I mean, they're literally two forces that... I mean, you think about how they were going through this entire thing. We were doing this, we were working together to prevent a national catastrophe, but we were still at each other's throats the whole time.
National. World catastrophe sounds more like it.
Well, okay.
But I also didn't find the
That's
villain that
like
interesting
10
either. I thought she was kind of
National means full
I've seen that type of
nation.
villain before. Also, I kind of predicted a lot of stuff. Like I knew there was going to be a twist where the villains knew what they were doing the whole time.
I think the villain
kinda
seemed
knew that.
underdeveloped.
Yeah. Just,
Oh, that'll.
yeah. Like I didn't even know that that one guy was her husband until because I guess I missed that part. But I was like, huh? They were married? When did that happen? And just but I forgot there was and I also did like the joke with where they were having sex upstairs or something like that, and then at the end he's like, I had to try hard enough or something, or I had to try the hardest, something those kind of silly.
It doesn't seem like he needs your help.
Yeah, you probably remember better than I do. It's cute. But okay, so you can go first.
Well, so it's not an unwatchable movie, but still, for me, I most of the time just sat there wanting it to end. I just felt like it just kept dragging on. It felt really long, so I'm actually gonna go as low as a D+.
Ow.
I don't know
I
if
think that's about as I think everyone else's grade is definitely gonna be higher. What about you?
Yeah, I'd probably just give it like a C. It was kind of just okay. I don't know. I really don't think this movie's going to be remembered all that well, really. I don't think people are going to go, hey, Superman was in this one movie, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like, some people who love it are going to, remember it, but I don't know if I don't know right now, but I'm pretty, it just wasn't that great. Yeah, I don't really know. It was just okay. I thought I was going to enjoy it, but I just was kind of bored through most of it, and especially the beginning, I thought was a little too goofy, and it got better by the end, but still, I was bored. I just wanted it to end by that time, and I forgot they also pulled one of those stupid, where it looks like one of the heroes is dead, and the other guy, or you hear a gunshot or stab noise, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
the bad guy is dead.
Yeah, there was that.
So I give it a C. Cameron, you can go next.
I think it definitely wasn't worth IMAX, but I still think it was a pretty good theater movie. Just not worth IMAX by any means.
Yeah.
So I think I might give it a B-. I still thought it was enjoyable.
I'll give it a B. I enjoyed it. It doesn't leave me with an emotional reaction like some of my all-time favorite movies
I'll give it a
do.
B too. I don't think it was
Alright.
it didn't send any prolific messages or any things to make you think about after the movie, but it was still good, well made.
Yeah, B.
I'd give it an A, but I have an appreciation for the old world charm.
Okay.
Alright,
So I really loved how this was done. It would be like watching the old show done in a modern day movie. Just some of the effects I didn't like, but that's a minority part of the movie, and only minority issue with it.
I don't think practical effects.
Yeah, the screen divide thing was probably the only thing I really didn't like about it. Overall, I liked it. It was good. I'd recommend it to my dad, who grew up with Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Well, this is probably because we have 5 guys in the car here, but I think this is probably the most mixed reception we've ever had in a shotgun review.
So, trailers.
Okay, we have no new trailers.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to talk about the extra scenes we saw from Everest from the IMAX trailer, but that's about it.
What was that other one? They had another one they had added. We hadn't really known.
Well,
I don't think they really showed
I think
the
we've
name.
talked about The Walk numerous times.
No, we've talked about Batman V. We've talked about Batman V.
Yeah, and Batman. Hitman Agent 47. That's actually coming out next week.
It was a different one they were showing.
Transporter Refueled?
Yeah.
Yeah, we discussed that.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind then.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah. So next week, we've actually got a bunch of stuff like Hitman Agent 47. We got Sinister 2, American Ultra, and also Learning to Drive. We might skip Learning to Drive because it's probably not going to be opening in very many places. So Sinister 2 I'll probably do on Friday.
Go to the
Okay, hopefully I can make that. But yeah, I think definitely Friday is probably the best time I can make that.
I'll see Sinister too.
Because you like the first one. I remember you
Yeah.
liked the first one.
I haven't even any idea what Sinister is.
Horror movie.
It is.
Yeah, forget that. No, I ain't going to see that.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like, it's